right. So we're diving into this deep dive, and you shared this manual with me, and it's really interesting, right? It's like a manual for men in the modern world, on how to navigate things.
Yeah, it really is. It's like a roadmap,
Yeah.
and it's a roadmap for a landscape that's definitely changed a lot from what maybe our fathers and grandfathers had to deal with.
Right, for sure. It's like a whole different ball game out there, and I think what struck me was how comprehensive it is.
Totally.
It covers everything
a lot.
from like the effects of feminism to a paternity crisis, which we'll get into, to things like emasculation, political correctness, even going to the red pill philosophy and incel culture.
It's a wide range of topics.
Yeah, it's wild and it's dense, right? It's not like a light read. You gotta really sit down with this thing. And,
absolutely, yeah. It's like a college course.
Yeah, it's like a college course. You got it.
Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah.
So, and I think what really hooked me right from the beginning was this story about Alex, this graphic designer, who's battling like body image issues.
Right.
And it just hit home,
Yeah.
like how much pressure there is on guys today to look a certain way.
Yeah.
Especially, in the dating world. It's like, have you ever felt that kind of pressure?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think any guy who has, been out there and trying to date and stuff has definitely felt that pressure. And I think the manual is saying that, a lot of those old ways of being a man, they just don't really work anymore.
Yeah.
It's not about like throwing out masculinity, altogether, but it's like we need to adapt, we need to find new ways to like thrive in this new landscape without losing that core sense of ourselves.
Right. I like how they frame that. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So one of the first things that jumped out at me was this idea of a paternity crisis. And they throw out a pretty stark statistic. A 70% increase in divorce rates since the 19...
That's huge.
I mean, that's huge, right? And that obviously has a huge impact on, families and then who the father actually is.
Yeah, and they don't just give us statistics, right? They have this story about a guy named Jack,
right?
And he raised this child for years and years and years, only to find out, later on through like a paternity test that the kid wasn't actually his.
Wow. It's wild.
Can you imagine like the emotional roller coaster?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's heartbreaking, right?
It's devastating.
You put that much time and energy and love into raising a child, and then...
The resources, too, I mean,
it's just, wow.
You're investing so much into this child, and then to find out it's, not biologically yours, that's got to be rough.
Yeah. So, for me, when I first thought of paternity tests, I thought they were all about just protecting men financially. Right, which is obviously important.
Yeah.
But the manual makes this interesting argument that it benefits women too.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, how do they make that case?
Well, they say it brings clarity, for everyone involved.
Okay.
And it avoids potential stigma for women too.
Right.
Imagine the uncertainty hanging over everyone. Is this child actually this man's?
Right.
And a test just clears all that up. And it's good for the child too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And honestly, not knowing like who the father is can have some pretty like serious legal and medical ramifications.
Right. Like down the line.
Yeah, down the line.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah. It's not just about the immediate situation.
It's about the long term.
It's about the long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. So, and it ties into, I think, the broader societal impact too, right?
Absolutely.
Because they bring up these studies that show that children, in many cases, benefit from a stable two-parent home.
Right.
It's not to say that single parents can't do a great job.
Of course not.
But statistically, having both parents involved often leads to better outcomes.
On average, for the kids, for sure.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about masculinity, which is obviously a big theme in this manual. And they go way back in time, exploring these historical roles of men from like Greek warriors to Japanese samurai.
Right.
These were guys, who embodied strength, leadership.
Totally.
They were providers for their families and their community. It's like a pretty different image from how men are often portrayed today, right?
It's a stark contrast. I mean, think about how men are portrayed in like the media, in movies, It's often like, I'm the bumbling dad or the guy who's clueless.
Right.
The manual argues that modern society has, in a lot of ways, kind of shifted away from those traditional roles.
Yeah, and they even use this term feminization. to describe what's happening in some areas.
Yeah, and I think that's a loaded term.
Right.
But I think what they're getting at is that there's been a shift in how we view those traditional masculine roles.
Yeah.
And some men are definitely feeling lost.
Yeah, it's like they're struggling to find their place, right?
Yeah.
In this world where those old definitions of manhood, they don't seem to fit.
I don't fit.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to use an old map to navigate a new territory.
Right. It's a good analogy. All right, now this next part's where things get a little controversial.
Okay.
They dive into the whole wage gap debate, which is, always a hot topic.
Always a hot topic.
But they throw this curveball.
Okay.
They ask, is the wage gap actually real? Or has it been manipulated?
Yeah, it's a really interesting take because they're challenging this narrative that, women are inherently disadvantaged.
Right, just by being a woman.
Just by being a woman, right.
Yeah.
And they present all this evidence that, when you actually account for things, like the types of jobs men and women choose, the hours they work, risk tolerance, all these factors, the gap actually shrinks.
Right. So it's not as simple as just saying women make less.
No, it's way more complex than that.
Right.
There are other variables at play.
Yeah. I like how they break that down.
Yeah, and they do acknowledge that some wage inequality exists,
right.
Particularly in certain fields.
Right.
But I think their main point is that we need to be critical thinkers,
Right.
We need to look at the whole picture and not just accept emotionally charged arguments.
Especially in today's world where it seems like everyone's trying to push an agenda.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you got to be really careful.
Got to be discerning.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now buckle up.
Okay.
Because we're getting into some seriously
Here we go.
thought-provoking territory. The tyranny of political correctness.
Okay.
And they use this really striking analogy. They compare political correctness to Two-Face.
Two-Face.
The Batman villain.
Oh, interesting.
Right. And I was like, what? But it's actually brilliant.
Okay, explain it.
So Two-Face, he appears to be all about justice.
Right.
But he ends up using it to punish anyone who doesn't fit his twisted view of the world. Right.
Yeah.
And the manual argues that political, which often disguises itself as promoting equality, can actually be used in the same...
To silence anyone who dares to have a different opinion.
Yeah, it's like this weaponized form of, moral righteousness.
Yeah, it's like you can't even question things anymore.
Right, you can't even question things.
Without being labeled a certain way.
Exactly. You get labeled.
And they bring up this example of the hashtag #YesAllWomen hashtag.
Right.
Which, obviously it was important to give women a platform.
Yeah, of course.
To share their experiences.
Right.
But the manual points out how it was sometimes used to shut down men who tried to bring up issues.
Oh, interesting.
Like misandry or double standards.
I see.
Right. So it's like...
It's a classic example of how,
that intention
get hijacked.
You can get, warped and twisted,
Yeah, for sure. And then they hit us with this statistic. 38% of men report being falsely accused of sexual misconduct.
Whoa, that's a big number.
It's a big number, right?
Yeah.
And it makes you think,
that's
scary.
About due process. The presumption of innocence. Like the manual isn't condoning any form of misconduct.
No, of course not.
But it highlights how...
It highlights the potential for bias.
Yeah, the potential for bias and the fact that these accusations can have a devastating impact on a man's life.
Yeah, I mean, your life can be totally turned upside down based on an allegation, regardless of whether it's true or not.
Right. It's a scary thought.
It's a very scary thought.
Yeah, it's like you're guilty until proven innocent almost.
It seems that way sometimes.
Yeah, and it ties into this larger issue of men often being demonized or stereotyped in certain discussions.
Right, and I think the manual is encouraging us to be mindful of that,
for sure.
To approach these sensitive topics with nuance and a commitment to fairness.
Right. It's like innocent until proven guilty, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. A fundamental principle of justice.
Absolutely, you need to remember.
Absolutely, for everyone.
For everyone, right.
For sure.
Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we have.
In this first part of our deep dive.
Definitely.
And
there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. We're just scratching the surface of this. And
it's manual deep.
This manual.
So just getting started.
We're just getting started.
Yeah. It's really fascinating how this manual connects, the individual struggles men face to these bigger shifts in society, it argues that some of these well-intentioned progressive policies, have actually had an unintended consequence of weakening the traditional family structure.
Yeah, and I was struck by that too, right? How they talk about marriage rates declining and single-parent households on the rise. And their point is that this shift has left like a lot of men feeling confused and lost. Like their
traditional roles have been eroded.
Yeah, like the old playbook for being a husband and a father, it's like it's outdated, you know, and society hasn't really offered like a clear replacement.
Right.
So it's like, where do we go from here, you know?
Yeah, it's like you're playing the game without any rules.
Yeah, exactly.
And it makes me think of all those dads out there who feel like they're sidelined or even demonized, you know, in custody battles or family court situations.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the manual tackles that head on, suggesting that like the pendulum has swung too far in some cases, you know, and they're advocating for like a more balanced approach, one that recognizes the vital role that fathers play, you know, in their children's lives, and encourages like shared responsibility within the family.
Yeah. And like we talked about earlier, you know, while single parents can absolutely do a great job,
of course,
the data often shows that
tend to thrive in stable two-parent homes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of research to support that.
Yeah.
I think the manual's point is, like, it's not about placing blame. It's about recognizing patterns. And what seems to work best for kids in the long run.
Yeah, it's like, what's the optimal environment for raising healthy, well-adjusted kids?
Right. And maybe, you know, maybe a return to clearer roles and responsibilities within the family could actually benefit everyone.
Not just men.
Not just men.
Right.
Women too, children too.
Yeah, the whole family unit.
A whole family unit.
Exact return to tradition, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is a bold statement in today's world.
Yeah.
But they back it up with some, like, really compelling argument, you know?
Yeah.
It's not about, like, going back to the 1950s, you know? With, like, the, you know, the stereotypical...
Leave it to Beaver. Yeah, the Leave It to Beaver, you know, kind of family structure. But it's more about recognizing, like, the inherent strengths of a structure that's worked for centuries, you know? They're suggesting that, like, clear boundaries and a division of responsibilities can actually create a sense of order.
Like structure.
Yeah, structure and stability, you know, which allows both partners to thrive and contribute their unique strengths.
So it's not about one person dominating or controlling.
No, not at all.
But it's about, like, having this clear understanding of who does what.
Exactly. It's like a well-oiled machine, you know, where everyone knows their part and can work together efficiently. They also emphasize, though, that this structure should be based on, like, mutual respect and understanding.
Not on, like, these outdated power dynamics.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not about going back to, like, you know, the patriarchal.
Yeah, the old school.
Yeah, the old school, you know, way of doing things.
Right.
It's more about, like, you know, a modern, evolved...
partnership.
Yeah, partnership.
Yeah.
Where both people feel valued and respected.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does, like, religion fit into all of this? Because the manual actually takes a bit of a detour into, like, the spiritual side of masculinity.
Yeah, this part was really interesting to me.
Yeah.
They explore how religion throughout history has often provided men with, like, this moral framework, you know? A sense of purpose that goes beyond just, like, the material world.
Something bigger than themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And they argue that in today's, like, increasingly secular society, that kind of grounding can be hard to find.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And they give examples from, like, various religions.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Yeah, they look at everything, discipline and, like, honor codes.
Of, like, ancient warrior culture to, like, the teachings on duty and responsibility found in a lot of, like, modern faiths.
Yeah.
And they're not saying that everyone needs to, like, become super religious, but they're making a case for how those principles can be valuable even outside of, like, a formal religious context.
Yeah, I can see that. In a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, having, like, a strong moral compass can be really grounding, you know?
Absolutely. It's about finding that, like, inner strength and sense of purpose that can help you, like, navigate the challenges of life, you know? And they tie it back to, like, the discussion about family by suggesting that, like, a shared spiritual or ethical framework can actually help create, like, unity and stability.
Within the family unit.
Yeah, within the family unit, exactly.
So it's like this, you know, shared set of values that can bind people together.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I keep coming back to is this idea of boundaries.
Yeah.
They really emphasize the importance of setting boundaries.
Yes.
Not just in, like, our personal lives, but in our professional lives too.
Absolutely, yeah.
I used to think that boundaries were kind of selfish.
Yeah.
Like I was shutting people out, but they frame it in a whole new way.
Yeah, they argue that like healthy boundaries are actually essential for self-respect and well-being.
Yeah.
It's about protecting your time, your energy, your emotional space. And they even use like these pop culture examples to like
there were some of those.
Illustrate this point. Like, remember the Tony Soprano example?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, here's this tough mob boss, right?
Yeah.
Going to therapy and learning about boundaries.
Right, yeah. It's like, if Tony Soprano needs boundaries,
exactly,
then maybe we all do.
Maybe we all do, right?
Yeah.
And then they bring up James Bond.
Oh, right.
The ultimate playboy,
right.
who realizes that even he needs boundaries in his personal life to avoid, like, chaos and heartbreak.
Right.
It's like these are archetypes of masculinity, and even they need boundaries.
Yeah. So it's not just for a certain type of person.
No, it's for everyone.
It's for everyone.
Yeah.
So how do they actually suggest we set boundaries? Like, what are some practical steps?
Well, they say it starts with like open communication, making sure that both people feel heard and respect.
Right.
It's about finding a balance that works for both partners.
Yeah.
And in the workplace, it might mean like saying no to unreasonable demand.
Right.
Setting limits on your availability, or just making sure that you take breaks to recharge, Yeah,
it sounds like it's about respecting your own needs.
Yeah.
And not feeling guilty about it.
Exactly. Yeah, they argue that when you have healthy boundaries, you can actually show up more fully.
Right, for the people that matter.
For the people and commitments that matter most to you.
Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So it's not selfish.
Right.
It's actually like a form of self-care that allows you to be more present in your relationship.
It's like you're protecting your energy so you can give more
Exactly.
to the things that really matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. This whole conversation about like societal pressures and the challenges men face makes me think about the whole incel phenomenon, which is, it's a dark
corner of the internet, for sure.
But it's something we can't ignore, right?
No, we can't ignore it. And the manual actually delves into some of the factors that contribute to this disturbing trend. Right. And they explore like this really complex interplay of factors from like societal pressures and unrealistic beauty standards to the empathy gap that often exists for men's emotional struggles.
Yeah. And they connected to our earlier discussion about political correctness.
Right.
They argue that it can contribute to a climate where men feel afraid to express their feelings, pursue relationships.
For fear of being labeled.
For fear of being labeled as like creepy or misogynistic.
Right. Yeah, it's like they're damned if they do, damned if they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like this self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is, right. Yeah. Like the more men are demonized or ridiculed, the more isolated and resentful some of them become.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a vicious cycle.
It is, yeah.
And I think the manual is encouraging like a more nuanced and compassionate approach.
Yeah.
Recognizing that incel culture is often a symptom of deeper societal issues.
Yeah. So instead of just labeling them as monsters, we need to try to understand the underlying causes.
Exactly, yeah. And I think part of that understanding is recognizing that not all men who identify with like incel ideology are like dangerous or hateful,
It's like a spectrum.
Yeah, it's a spectrum. And many of them are just struggling with loneliness, social anxiety, a lack of connection.
Yeah, those basic human needs. Yeah.
And I think the manual is encouraging us to like approach this issue with empathy and understanding while also condemning any form of violence.
Right, violence or hatred.
Hatred, right?
Yeah. It's like a complex issue.
It's a very complex issue.
There's no easy answer.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no like quick fix for this.
Right. It's a societal problem.
Yeah, it's a societal problem.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready for a little more positivity now.
Okay, yeah, me too.
Let's talk about like the role of Red Pill mentor and the importance of self-improvement.
Yeah, this is a really key part of the manual. They highlight figures like Roosh V and Jordan Peterson, who have become like really influential voices for men seeking guidance in a world that can feel like confusing and even hostile at times, Yeah,
I've heard of Jordan Peterson. He talks a lot about personal responsibility.
Right. They highlight his emphasis on like self-discipline, finding meaning in life, and taking ownership of your choices.
Okay.
And then there's Rushvi, whose approach to dating and relationships is definitely more controversial. They acknowledge that his teachings might not be for everyone.
Right.
But he's clearly resonated with men who feel like disillusioned with the modern dating scene.
Okay, yeah. So different approaches.
Different approaches, but I think the manual's main point is that even if you follow a mentor, it's crucial to think for yourself.
Yeah, to not just blindly follow. Right.
Yeah, don't just blindly follow any one guru or ideology.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's about taking those teachings as a starting point and figuring out what works for you. You know, it's about self-study, critical thinking, and ultimately taking responsibility for your own growth and development.
So it's not about becoming a clone of your mentor.
No, it's about...
But using their insight.
Yeah, it's about using their insights as a springboard for your own journey.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's about becoming your own man, defining your own values, and creating a life that aligns with your unique goals and aspirations.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's about individual within a framework of guidance and mentorship.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. You know, we talked about the science of attraction earlier.
Yeah.
But the manual goes even deeper into
they get into
evolutionary biology,
and
psychology.
Yeah.
You know, trying to explain what men find attractive in women.
Yeah, it's fascinating. They get into some research about how men are biologically wired to be attracted to certain features that signal youth, fertility, health.
Okay.
They call them meiotinous features.
Meiotinous features. Okay. What are those?
So thinkly baby-like features. Okay. Large eyes, full lips, delicate jawline.
Okay.
You know? These features, from an evolutionary perspective, signal that a woman is young and healthy.
Okay.
Which are desirable traits.
Right.
For potential mates.
So it's not just about cultural preference?
No, not just cultural.
There's actually a biological
basis
for some of these attractions.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fascinating, right?
Yeah, it is.
And they tie this into the whole Barbie doll syndrome.
Right.
The idea that these unrealistic beauty standards promoted by the media can be damaging for both men and women. And they make a case for recognizing beauty in all its forms, you know?
Right.
And appreciating the unique qualities that make each individual attractive.
So it's about seeing beyond the superficial.
Yes.
And appreciating the inner beauty as well.
The inner beauty, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
And they also emphasize the importance of understanding female psychology and emotional landscapes to build genuine connections.
So it's not just about knowing the right pickup lines or techniques.
No, not at all.
But about actually understanding and relating to women as human beings.
As human beings, exactly.
Yeah.
It's about building relationships based on mutual respect, empathy, and shared values.
Yeah, and those deeper connections.
Deeper connections,
Yeah, okay. And they even talk about the role of social and resources in attraction, which can be a bit uncomfortable to acknowledge.
Yeah, it's a sensitive topic.
Right.
But I think they're approaching it from an evolutionary biology perspective.
Okay.
You know, the idea that women are often drawn to men who can provide security and stability.
Not just for themselves.
Not just for themselves.
But for potential offspring.
Right.
Yeah.
And they cite research showing that women often prioritize a man's social standing and resources.
Right.
Sometimes even more than just physical attractiveness.
Okay, so it's not just about being good looking.
It's more complex than that.
It's about demonstrating that you can provide and protect.
Right, exactly.
Right.
It's about showing that you have the capacity to create a stable and secure environment, you know, for a potential family.
Right.
So it's not just about being a pretty face.
Right. It's about those deeper qualities.
Yeah. And again, you know, it's more complex than that.
Right, of course.
But the manual is acknowledging these biological and social factors.
Yeah, it's part of the equation.
Yeah, it's part of the equation.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
It is a lot to take in.
For sure.
But it helps to understand some of the dynamics at play, you know, when it comes to attraction and relationships.
Yeah, it's you're getting a glimpse behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly.
Of how things work.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, one thing that really resonated with me was their emphasis on hobbies and passion. They make this compelling case for why it's so important to cultivate interests beyond just work and relationships.
Right. They're saying it's not all about the grind, you know. It's about having things that bring you joy and fulfillment.
Right.
And can even make you more attractive to potential partners.
Okay.
So it's like this win-win, you get to enjoy your hobbies and it can actually make you more appealing to the opposite sex.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Like it shows you're like a well-rounded person.
Exactly.
With a life outside of work.
Right. It shows that you're not just like, a one-dimensional workaholic.
Yeah, you're not just all about the hustle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And they suggest that hobbies signal like intense, forcefulness, passion, all of which are attractive qualities. Yeah.
And they even use like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk as examples. Those guys weren't just driven by ambition.
Right.
They were passionate about their work. They were obsessed.
Yeah. It's like they say, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's what they're getting at.
Right.
Having passions can actually make work feel less like a grind, more like a calling.
Right. And they make a good point about how those passions can sometimes block them into successful career.
Yeah. And I think they're encouraging us to find that sweet spot where our interests and skills and career path line.
Right.
It's about creating a life where you're not just making a living, but you're pursuing your passions and making a difference in the world.
Yeah. It's like that Venn diagram. Yeah, exactly.
Where it all overlaps.
Right, where it all comes together.
Yeah.
That's the sweet spot.
Okay, let's tackle a topic that can be a bit intimidating. Financial independence.
Okay.
The manual starts off with a pretty bold statement.
Okay.
They say that financial dependence can be more dangerous than relying on others for money.
That's a bold statement.
I mean, I get that financial security is important, but dangerous.
Yeah, and I think what they're talking about is not simply being broke, but the power dynamics that come with financial dependence.
Yeah.
Like when you rely on someone else for your financial well-being, you give them a certain level of control
over your life.
Yeah. And they paint this pretty bleak picture, of a man whose every move is dictated by his partners or even his parents' financial control.
Right, like you're beholden to them.
Yeah, beholden, having to answer for every decision you make.
Yeah, and they argue that it can erode your self-esteem, your mental health, even your freedom of choice.
Yeah, it can create resentment, and a sense of powerlessness.
Yeah. And they even go so far as to say that financial dependence can be used as a tool of manipulation in relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, where the person holding the purse strings,
the person with the money,
can use that to control the other person's behavior.
Exactly. Yeah. It becomes this like lever of control.
Yeah, it's a power imbalance.
Yeah, it's a huge power imbalance.
Right. It's like, it's a stark reminder that financial independence isn't just about money.
No, it's about freedom.
It's about freedom and autonomy. Yeah. I've always thought that building a strong network is important for career success.
Yeah.
But the manual takes it a step further. They talk about building a red pill network.
Okay.
What exactly do they mean by that?
So it's about surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who share your values and perspective.
Okay.
And they suggest like attending networking events, joining clubs or organizations, leveraging social media to connect with men who are on a similar path.
Okay, so it's like a brotherhood.
Yeah, like a brotherhood.
Men who support and challenge each other.
Can challenge each other. Exactly. Yeah. Like having a tribe, of guys who get it, who understand the challenges you're facing.
Right.
And they share this story about a guy named John who was laid off from his engineering job and used his network to land a new